Hello.
Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, we are back with another one. And if you have noticed, I'm moving around because we finally cleaned up the garage a little bit. And Juan said it would never happen, but we did it. We're finally here. And today we can finally finish up the cutting, which is something that we've been trying to do for now 4 weeks. So if you're wondering, we're busy people, then that's our excuse. But 4 weeks now we've been doing it, and today we're actually gonna finish it out. Just like I said in the ending of the last video, all we have is to finish cutting the rear end of this thing, and then once that's done, we're done cutting, and we'll never go look at another grind reel and another sawzall ever again, man.
What about that door?
Okay, the rear end and then one door, and then we're done. And I think that's it for cutting, and then we could drop the rear subframe because we're gonna go switch over to rev shift bushings. Check out these bushings. So these are all rev shift. They have different, is it called durometers? I think it's durometers. They have different durometers.
Diameters?
No, durometers. It's
Durometers.
definitely called durometers.
That's
Yeah.
fancy.
So different durometers that are different colors, and there's like 85A, 90A, whatever, and these are drift spec, or they're called drift. So that's why they're teal. The ones that were on my previous car were green, and I think those were 75A or 98 or whatever, I don't know. But that's why we bought these. These were the drift line, and I figured might as well switch over to that, try them out, and have all new bushings. Hence why we need to drop the rear subframe. So that was gonna have to come out anyway because we're gonna do the supports for it. We're gonna weld those in, and I figured we'll just do all that now. And then while it's out, change the bushings, do that, and then throw everything back together so that we don't ever have to deal with it again. So if you've seen the other one, like I said, make sure if one thing you do to this car is change your bushings, because the harder the bushing, the more control you're gonna have. And I know it sounds crazy, but the thing is, these are very old cars. So obviously this car is from 98, so it's a very old car. And I mean, I don't want to say very old, but it's an old car. So bushings don't last that long. Rubber bushings especially, that's why you're gonna switch over to these things. And I'm laughing because I see this motherfucker laughing in the background. So that's that. But yeah, and without further ado, let's get into it. Fancy, right? Look at this. Perfect for the Sawzall. Probably didn't need it, but we're here. Good job. Very proud of you.
It must be French. It says touche.
Make sure it says torch. Torche.
Touche.
You got it, buddy. You got it.
Out of focus. God forbid I slice my finger with this.
Like I said, we're gonna cut the trunk, and a whole thing with this is that if you've never seen someone else do it, or you've watched a few YouTube videos that kind of explain what's going on, I just want you to understand that there's a part of the frame of the car that actually goes down with it. So if you look inside, this part is actually gonna come down to around here. So the easiest way you could do this, which obviously Juan thought of, and it's pretty damn smart, is that we're just gonna cut it down this way, and then just kind of cut it here, and then cut it back up. And then we can do small cuts to be able to cut as much of the metal out as possible. And then that way, this whole piece is gonna come out, that part where the battery tray is, and that's all gonna come out. This is all one piece, by the way. So that's all gonna drop out. And then that way, you could just put a metal plate here, which they sell on eBay for like 100 something bucks. And then the plate goes from the metal beams right here, all the way across to here. And then you just put a couple of, tack spot welds, whatever, and then paint it over if you want to. And then that's covered. The other piece covers this so that you don't actually have a hole that goes all the way down to the ground. But aside from that, I think that's it. The other side stays. You don't have to touch the other side.
Why can't we cut that all the way through?
This?
Yes.
Because this is the actual frame of the car. So if you cut this, it's going to have a huge opening in the frame of the car. So this, you're going to follow it, because this is all just metal that you don't need. Whereas this, you can just tell the sound difference. So this we need to keep. It's solid. You need that. You need the reinforcement for the actual frame of the car. So you can't touch that. Don't cut it. And go down, cut that. And when you're under the car, you'll notice it anyway. You'll see it. There's going to be a huge, I'll show you guys when we get under it. And once we actually cut it out so you could actually see it. But once you cut it out, you'll see that it follows the frame of the car. And you can't just cut that. So, yeah. Get into cutting. Look at that. You guys ever play that whack-a-mole game? Bam, bam. It looks perfect. We got this part, like I said, cut out. Now, you can make little cuts based on where the frame goes, and watch out the salt on the if you look down here, right here. So this thing, you don't want to cut into that at all. So if you're here, don't cut that. Perfect. Now we can cut all the way up to here, but at least we can see it so that we can make the correct adjustments as needed. And we still need to cut out the other side, but the way we did it was we cut this as 2 different pieces. So normally, yes, you could cut it all that was 1 piece, but I figured this was gonna be easier, and now we can move on.
What are we doing now?
So we finally made it to the point of dropping the rear subframe, and it looks very rusted. So the rear bolts, because there's 4 bolts, 4 main bolts that hold them together. The rear bolts, super easy. They went great. And then now we're on to the front bolts where it's not going so good. So we're gonna use a gun, hit them real quick, and then hopefully get it off. I can't see nothing. All right, whatever. Oh, dude. Alright, this is gonna come off.
Alright.
On.
What we got?
We got. Gotta get that brake cable out. Alright. Alright. Now, roll this thing back. I think we can get her out. Alright. There she is, and we're finally out with it.
Weight reduction.
If you look at these bushings in here, they are shot. You see how it's all dry rotted, whatnot, it's terrible. So, actually those feel pretty good, whatever. But anyhow, those are the bushings we're gonna change. This is rusted to hell. I don't know if you guys could tell. I'm sure you could because it's awful. Good news, we have another one of these. The trailing arms on this thing, we're gonna buy a different set because I had welded on rear dual caliper setup on the last car, and I loved it. So it wasn't like the Chase Bays one where you just kind of bolt it on. It was more of a weld on, and it was perfect. And I found someone on Marketplace selling them, so we're gonna buy those, and then change the bushings here, change the bushings here, and then take this out. This will grind down, and then repaint it so that it's nice, and see hopefully if it needs any things that need to be fixed, we'll fix that. Like I said, this we have a brand new one of, and then the bushings over there on the trailing arm, these are going to be replaced. These usually go bad, which you can see how much slop is in here. So that, we're going to get rid of all that slop, and look, you can tell the bushing's been through the ringers. So, and that's it. Listen, new rotors, new pads, new everything. Hopefully once we're done with this, it's going to look brand new in the car, and yeah, no more cutting, please. Oh, actually, we're almost done with the door. We still got the door left, but you guys don't need to see that. We're done here. At least we got it out. It was not easy. We got it out, and kudos to us. And now we're here. So. This is everything that we've got out of the car. It doesn't look like much, but it definitely helps, and it's like when you're on like a good diet, every pound matters. Like how every inch matters, like what wants it. But every pound matters. So to be able to say that, and it seems like we're gonna be saving a lot of weight, and this is what me and Juan were talking about earlier. But realistically, we're gonna put a freaking giant cage in here, and it's gonna be like a whole 8-point cage, and you know, formula drift stash, this, that, about. So what's gonna end up happening is you're gonna gain all that weight back, and there's really not much that we're doing. However, if you think about it, we're kind of evening it out so that we're not adding any weight. So it's gonna help us in the long run, and this thing is gonna be very rowdy, hopefully. Hopefully it's gonna be rowdy. And then for the next video, no more cutting. I promise you guys we're done with the cutting, and hopefully we don't have to show you any more of that. And even any other cutting, I promise we're gonna do behind the scenes so that you guys don't have to see it, because I'm sure as much as Juan is sick of it, I'm sure you are. So at the end of the day, as always, make sure you guys like, comment, share, subscribe, all the other good stuff, and I'll see you on the next one.